guys, and welcome back to Your One Room Schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mama to a first and a third grader. And today's video is going to be our Homeschool November 2025 update. This month was a bit of a shorter one with the Thanksgiving holiday during the last week, but we have a lot to talk about in this video. I will say, looking back at this month, this was our best month by far for homeschooling, but personally my worst month of this year. And I'm going to leave timestamps down below, so if you don't want to hear about the personal stuff and you just want to get to the homeschooling stuff, skip right on ahead, don't worry about it. But I do want to update you guys on what's been going on with me. One, because as someone who has dealt with a lot of autoimmune disease issues and you're just looking for answers anywhere you can, I hope that I can provide some, I don't know, whether it's information or solace or community and support with my journey and what's been going on with me. I want to be that person and that voice for you guys, if that is something that you've been dealing with as well. But also at the end of the day, I homeschool. I have my own things going on, right? So my personal life does impact our homeschooling. So it is, I think, important to talk about how it has impacted life lately within our homeschool. I will tell you right now, I am doing so much better, you guys, but the last couple of weeks have been quite rough, and it started in October. So if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I have Hashimoto's. It's an autoimmune disease that ends up attacking your thyroid, which causes a whole slew of issues within your body. And I was diagnosed in 2020. Well, just kind of rewinding really quickly, because this is important. In the beginning of the summer this year, but it really started in the spring, but the beginning of summer is when I had probably my worst flare of Hashimoto's to date since I was diagnosed in 2020. It was so bad I couldn't get out of bed most of the time to take my kids to their soccer practices. I was barely making it through morning lessons. I had the worst brain fog. I was in a really bad place physically and mentally, if I'm being honest. But I did find a method that helped me get out of that. For the most part, I got about, I would say 80% of my symptoms had been managed by doing a Hashimoto's protocol. But unfortunately, when you have one autoimmune disease, you have the ability or high risk of developing other autoimmune diseases. And some of what I was doing in the Hashimoto's protocol, which was helping my Hashimoto's, actually was creating the perfect storm for another autoimmune response to develop. I'm trying to decide how much I want to go into depth about what happened, but I'm probably going to leave that to myself. I will say the autoimmune response that I was dealing with, it's very painful. And it was really impacting my life over the last 6 weeks. My ability to be a mom, to be a wife, to be a homeschooler, to have relationships with my friends. I mean, I really went MIA because I was just in such pain, and it really brought me to a mental place that I've not ever been. I'm not somebody who's dealt with depression previously, but if I'm being completely honest, looking back on everything, I had some depressive episodes, we'll call it, where things were bleak for me. And it's interesting because now that I'm feeling better, I've been sharing that with my friends now, just kind of bringing them into the fold of what's been going on. And they're like, I had no idea. You seemed totally fine on Instagram. You seemed happy on your YouTube videos. And I told them, I know it's because it was kind of an up and down process. And so in those moments where I had an up and I was feeling okay-ish and not, really in a bad place mentally, I was like, okay, I've got probably today to film a bunch of videos for YouTube. I got to get them done or else I'm not going to get anything out. It's why my posting schedule has been so spotty. It's why you really don't see my face on our Instagram stories and things like that. But ultimately, it made them realize, wow, social media really doesn't portray what's going on in people's lives. You would have no idea otherwise. I was like, I know. And that's why I think, social media has a lot of positives. I think it's got a lot of benefits, but it also kind of can sometimes create unrealistic expectations of life and what it should be. So just thought I'd throw that in there. But I was so desperate. And I had done so much research. I have a background in health, just with all my autoimmune diseases and everything. I'm a certified personal trainer. I've gotten my nutritionist certification. I've done hundreds and thousands of hours of research and studying and things on this, specifically autoimmune diseases, because it's affecting me so much. But also I was pre-med in college. It's a whole story. I'm not going to go there. That's a tangent, but I actually was originally going to be a pediatrician. But I got scared and I switched majors. It's fine. Through all my research, I was desperate and I was like, we got to do a Hail Mary at this point, because I'm at a point where I'm about to check myself into the hospital and just say, fix me. Because I had to go to the ER a few weeks ago in the middle of the night. I mean, it's been rough. So without trying to make this longer than it should be, what I discovered was I might benefit strongly from doing a carnivore diet, not just for what I've been dealing with the last couple of weeks, but also for my Hashimoto's. I'm on day 8 of carnivore right now, and 95% of my recent autoimmune response symptoms have gone. 95%, y'all. I could cry happy tears. It's been so bad, y'all. And I'm trying not to get emotional because it's been rough. And on top of that, all of my lingering Hashimoto symptoms that I was dealing with that didn't go fully away from the Hashimoto's protocol have gone. My joint pain's gone. I can think. I can have clear conversations. I'm articulate now. I have energy again. I'm sleeping again. Just so many things, y'all. I'm really shocked. I mean, I've seen so many anecdotes and also data coming out now about the carnivore diet, but I was just like, no way it could be that good, right? Yeah, it is. Well, at least for me, it is. This is not me trying to give anybody advice, health advice or any of that stuff. Disclaimer done. But it's been what I need. My plan is to do 90 days elimination diet with this, but I have an issue with oxalates, and oxalates are all throughout vegetables, fruits, nuts, things like that. And so obviously a full meat or animal product diet is no oxalates, just naturally. And I don't know, I'll see where I get to. When I get to 90 days, I might want to introduce a few things. I might try mushrooms because they're low oxalate and they're really good with steaks and things like that, but I'm not quite sure. We'll see. But right now I'm just happy it's working. I have my life back. The other day, the girls and I, so this week is Thanksgiving week. This is the day after the Friday after Thanksgiving. We have gone and seen one of our friends, somebody new, every day. And I think it was Wednesday, we came back in from being out at a play date, and my daughter looked at me and she said, "Mommy, are you feeling better?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And she goes, "I can tell." And I was like, oh, that broke my heart, because I haven't been the mom that I need to be for them. I haven't been the wife that I want to be. My husband's been so supportive and wonderful, and so have my kids, but it's like, I'm just so ready to be back to the person I am, and I am almost there. So with that has severely impacted our homeschool and getting things done and being able to do what we want to do. However, I think I have managed as best as I possibly can for my kids and tried to keep it as normal as possible. So with that, enough with the sad and the health and everything. Let's talk about the homeschooling side of things, because this has been our best homeschool month yet for this school year. And why is because I think it was like back at the end of October, essentially, I decided I needed to take a hard look at our homeschool, not just our homeschool, but what kind of homeschool do we want? Our goals. What do we want it to be? Who do we want to be? And I recognize, especially with all my health issues going on and the goals that we wanted to achieve within our homeschool, a lot of what we were doing was not serving us. And I needed to bring in some things that would. So we did a lot of changes, not a lot, I don't want to be dramatic here, but we made some changes for, I kind of planned them at the end of October for November to implement, and they have all gone really well. We dropped some things, we tweaked some things, we brought in some stuff. So we're gonna get into that in this video. One thing I had mentioned in October was that we were going to be bringing in Blossom and Root. I just wanted to hit that really quickly. We brought in grade 3 for my oldest daughter, their language arts, and we brought in grade 1 for my youngest daughter, their language arts, which we had done with my oldest daughter our first year of homeschool, which went really well. And we tried these out this month, and I will just tell you really quickly, I will get into my individual subjects for my girls, but I just want to mention this has been a huge winner of the month, you guys. I asked the girls, I was like, so what do you, not trying to lead them. I was like, how did everything go? They were like, Blossom and Root was our favorite this year, and we want to keep doing it. So heads up, we will be continuing this after our Christmas schooling is over, because we will take a pause on everything starting next week for December schooling, because we're going to be doing our Harry Potter unit along with some math, of course. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that Blossom and Brait right now is running a 30% off sale. It's their winter sale. It's not Black Friday or anything like that. They run it starting now until it's over December 31st, I think. But if you use the code SNOWY30, I'll put the details down below. I'll link it down below so you guys can go check out their stuff. You can get 30% off her products, and they're all digital. They're all amazing and so accessible to anybody, no matter what your homeschooling style is. You will like something at Blossom and Root, I swear. So that's been a big hit of the month. I would say that's the winner this month. Something else I've been trying out, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to talk about it quite yet, but I wanted to tell you guys I'm doing it, is I'm playing around with a different planner format. And not so much a planner, but I kind of have gone to a checklist, especially with realizing we're going to keep Blossom and Root around this year. And with some of the simplification we've done, I'm trying to, again, simplify my planning even. And I'm thinking that a simple notebook checklist might be our best route. Also, I did some, collaging creative stuff for my soul, but I haven't decided I'm going to do this, or I'm also toying around with a laminated version of this, because I realized every week I was rewriting the same things over and over again. And I was like, why do I keep rewriting this every week? Why don't I save myself 30 minutes a week and just do a quick checklist, or even print out, and I'll show you, I actually created one because we're going to try it out after the Christmas holidays. I was like, why don't I just do like a wet erase checklist every week and give the girls their own? So just a heads up, we're trying that out between now and probably January. I'll give you guys a heads up on how that all goes and what we ultimately end up doing. Again, the name of the game here for us is simplifying our lives and our homeschool, because it reduces stress. It gives us more time back in our day to do things we enjoy, follow the rabbit trails, etc. So I actually really like this notebook, by the way. It's really pretty color too, and it's really nice cover. It's got the little thing that you put over like this. This is a really nice quality notebook. I'm gonna link it down below. This I would just, even if we don't do this, I'm gonna keep this notebook and use it like for something like maybe journaling in my homeschool. It's just such a beautiful notebook. But so that's something also that we're trying out right now to try and simplify the planning aspect of homeschooling. So that's my high level stuff I want to talk about. Let's get into the girls' individual subjects. We'll talk about group subjects, and then at the end I'll tell you guys what we have dropped and kind of the reasons why and what that's done for us. But remember, if I don't talk about anything, it's not a bad thing. It means it's just going well and there's nothing to update you on. So don't worry if I don't mention something. You're like, wait, are you still doing Spanish? And yes, we're still doing homeschool language Spanish. We love it. There's just no point in talking about it because we're just doing so well with it, and it's just keeping on. So let's get into my first graders individual subjects updates, okay? First up, let's talk about Blossom and Root Level 1 Language Arts for my first grader. This went so well for her, y'all. She loved this. I interviewed both girls after this month was over, and I asked them like what they liked, what they didn't like. And she said this was her favorite thing this month thus far, which is kind of exciting because she's never said language arts really was her favorite. So this was a winner. So just so you know, we actually didn't start her from week 1 in this program because there wasn't really any reason we had to versus starting in another week. I decided to start her in week 14, which was our week 14 for our homeschool, just because if this went well, I wanted to be able to continue it and finish in line with it at the end of the school year. And we were absolutely able to do that. I asked her, I was like, well, what do you love about it so much? And she told me that the literature picks were her favorite books that she's done this year. We did the Town Musicians of Bremen. 1 week we got to watch Disney's Moana. So it wasn't even a book. It was totally telling us to do Moana. We also read Stregonona, which is one of my favorites. So she really liked the literature selection. She also told me her favorite thing is the poems that she recommends that we read. It's Sing a Song of Seasons. There's no rhyme or reason to it. She literally says just it's an optional thing if you want to. When I say she, I'm talking about Christina, the creator. She basically says you can or cannot do this, but this is what she recommends for this level. And this is such a beautiful book. I ended up purchasing it because we did get the library book, but it's a really beautiful book. It's a really nice one, and it goes by month and date. So what we do is every morning before we start her language arts, I just open it up to the date that we're on and we read that poem. Sometimes she tells me something about it. Sometimes she's like, that's cool, let's move on. But she just loves them. She loves the poems. So she's really liking the literature and the poems from it. Something else she is loving, she told me, are the arts and crafts that she gets to do from the projects. So for the week of Moana, she is loving making peg dolls. This is Poi. This is Maui with his grass skirt. And this is Moana. I thought that was so cute. She also made for Stregonona there, if you're not familiar with the story, there's this magical pot and that bubbles over with pasta, and Big Anthony, he's the bad boy. He causes the pot to bubble over, but this is Big Anthony. He's a little scary looking, but he's pretty accurate. It's fine. And this is the pot of pasta that she made. I thought she did pretty good with polymer clay. She's loving the arts and crafts aspect of it, and it's actually making her narrations so good, y'all. Like, she wasn't bad at narrating before, but when she does her narrations with the little people, she is so much more engaged. And it might be that the stories are just connecting with her better, I don't know, but it's just the whole thing is going well in that respect. And last but not least, she told me she is really loving this is her working binder. She is loving the work pages. Specifically, she loves the mini poems, which are working on her writing skills, her grammar, her reading. I mean, it's everything. So this was, and then you can draw a little picture for it when you complete the mini poem, but she's loving that. She really is enjoying the copy work, and specifically she is loving the journal. This is like creative writing. I'm writing it for her. She's not quite there yet, but there's this was the I think it was the pasta pot where Big Anthony bubbles up over the pasta. But so she just loves it. It's very simplistic, but it's just sparking her interest, and she is just loving it, y'all. So needless to say, we are going to be continuing with this after the winter holidays are over, because we're going to do December schooling. So we're going to pause for December, and then we'll bring it back in January and finish up the whole program through the rest of this year. Another thing that's kind of exciting is that she actually finished up the Good and the Beautiful Booster B cards, and we have started now Booster C cards, which come with 2 different readers, and we have started Wesley and the Wolves. And she really likes these readers. These are like more grown up to her because 1, they've got great illustrations. 2, it's companion reading. So she'll read this and then I read this. So they're not boring, and you know, the storyline doesn't get blah because it's only based on her reading abilities. She's able to have more detail in the story and it be more adventurous because mommy is able to help her read it. And it's very much phonetic based. It's very systematic. It goes over the phonics that we've learned. There's also some sight challenge words that she's actually been doing really well with, and she is enjoying the storyline so far on this. So that's been exciting for her. She is really progressing with her reading. She's just, that girl is taken off. She is a reading queen. And then one last thing I want to talk about with my first grader before we're done with her individual subjects is science. So I did split up my girls this year for science just based on their individual abilities, and I wanted to make sure that my oldest daughter was getting what she needed and my youngest daughter was getting what she needed. So we have finally finished Field and Flowers this November. She really liked this one. I actually have done an update. Once that gets posted, I'll link that down below for you guys if I remember. If not, just go back to my, I think I'm going to post it after this video, so stay tuned for that. But she really liked it, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I did that video. But what we're going to be doing next, and again, we're going to do it after the Christmas holidays because we're doing December schooling, we are going to then do Sparks and Stars. So we've got the parent guide and the big book of science stories, and that's what we're going to do for the rest of the school year with her. And she is super pumped because it's space, it's, you know, physics, it's all that good stuff, and it's going to be so much fun. Lots of good experiments in this one. So overall, a really solid update for my first grader this month. Okay, next let's talk about my third grader. First up, going into language arts, talking about Blossom Root third grade. Again, huge winner for her. She has really enjoyed this program immensely, and it has been such a nice change of pace for her. She's the one that really likes a lot of the hands-on crafts. It's brought in that hands-on crafts for her. She loved the literature selection. So the way this worked out is the first 4 weeks. So unlike my first grader, we actually did start the program from the beginning because the first 4 weeks are Alice in Wonderland, and my daughter did want to read Alice in Wonderland, and we have the book. We actually have this really beautiful version that is illustrated by Mabel Lucy Atwell, and she's long since passed away, but they're just these classic illustrations like this. Beautiful book. So this went really well. So well, so that I said it's 4 weeks long. So the 4th week would have fallen during Thanksgiving week. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do school during Thanksgiving. And I was like, but I don't want to do it during our December schooling. So I guess we're going to have to wait till after January to finish this. She said, absolutely not. We're not doing that. I was like, well, the only other option I really feel like we can do is finish the 4th week during Thanksgiving week. Do you want to do that? She goes, heck yes. I was like, wow, you really like this program. But more specifically, she does really like the Alice in Wonderland story, and she really enjoyed this. So much so that she actually was like, can I read it rather than you reading aloud? I was like, this is a lot. Like, even for your readings, I feel like this would be too much for you. And she goes, no, I want to try it. And I was like, okay. So I would say 5 out of 10 of the reading days for this, she actually read it. She would normally make it about halfway through the chapter because the chapters are longer, and the language is kind of a little tougher and it's a little bit more chaotic because it's an odd story. It's quirky, right? But so about halfway through, she would look at me and go, okay, I don't know if I can do it anymore. I'm tired. I was like, okay, I'll take over. So on those days she did read this, we did not do her reading from her Bookshark reader just because I just felt like it would be redundant and unnecessary because she's gotten her reading practice doing this, and there were some tough words in here, so she did really well with it. So with that, I will say we are definitely falling behind schedule with our level 3 Bookshark readers. I'm not worried about it though, because we don't need to stick to a schedule. I just brought those in to provide her daily practice with reading, but she got her daily practice a lot from this. So it's fine. We may end up keep reading them into 4th grade. Not a big deal as long as it's still on level for her. So but wanted to give you a heads up. We may not finish those this school year. We might be going into the summer and into 4th grade, but that's okay. One of the other things that she mentioned that she loves about this level, I mean, she's like, I like a lot of it, but there were some things that really stuck out to her, is they have this thing that you do weekly. It's called Playing with Vocabulary. So it's learning vocab. And she gives you a few different vocabulary words, and then she encourages you up here to either use those vocabulary words and create a original sentence, poem, meme, joke, rap, or song lyric. And she loves doing this, y'all. She's made a few poems, she's made a few rap songs. It's requiring her to use her context skills, like putting vocabulary into context within the sentence, her dictionary skills, her creativity. It's all there. It's hitting all those buttons for her. The other thing she has loved is the arts and crafts hands-on projects. So one of the weeks she actually went ahead, I've shared these before, she made polymer clay like models. So this is the house that Alice gets too big in. Her foot's coming out the chimney, her hand's coming out this side. She made a, not white rabbit, but she made a purple rabbit. I don't know if this is like even focusing. I'm so sorry, guys. And then she made an Alice with red hair and polka dots. So it's hitting that, it's scratching that creative itch for her. So she is loving this, you guys. So needless to say, we will be moving forward with Blossom Root level 3 for the rest of the school year. We will not be able to do the entire level just because we started it later. I went through the different books with her. I read the story synopsises, and I asked her, I was like, hey, we got to cut like 2, 3, maybe 4 books out of this. So what are you least interested in reading? And she did tell me, I'm going to be honest with you, I'll have to do a whole video on like what we're going to be doing with that, because I can't remember what we cut out because this was a little while ago. But she did. She like, there's 4 that I'm not really interested in, but we're holding on to those because if one of the books she did pick ended up being a flop for her, I'm just going to then bring in those books that she said, these are the least interesting ones to me. So but I'm really excited. She's loving it. Something else that she is loving from Blossom and Root is they do have a geography component that is optional. If you don't want to do it, you can just do the language arts. But I love that Christina does this for each of her language arts levels. She includes some type of geography. My youngest daughter with level 1, the geography I think starts around, I can't remember, I think it's week 26. So she's not doing that yet, but she will be when we get more into the school year. There will be a geography component for her, which will be great. For my oldest, this year is all about focusing on creation stories. And then the last couple of weeks of the school year will be all about world religions, which I think that's great to get into, right? But we read these mythological creation stories from different cultures, and then we learn about that culture. We do some map work with it. It is such a great way to incorporate geography and cultures at the same time. I wasn't sure what she would think about this book because, one, I think the front cover's a little creepy, so I wasn't sure if she'd be freaked out by it. She was not even, she was like nonplussed. She's like, whatever. But if you look at some of the, hold on, there's another one in here. Yeah, like there's some like, I don't know, what I would consider creepier for a young child images. She doesn't care. It doesn't bother her. I think it's probably because I've introduced Tim Burton to her at a very young age and she just doesn't get fazed by this kind of stuff. So this does not bother her. She loves the stories. She loves seeing what people believe from a creation perspective. She thinks it's just so fun to go through it. And then doing the geography at the end of it, she's just having the best time with this. So we do this on Fridays. So this is kind of like a fun Friday activity we do. And we leave geography for then. And it's been really working for our schedule well. Last thing I wanted to talk about with my third grader before we get into group subjects is her elemental science biology for the grammar years. So if you've been following my updates, you know that her enthusiasm for this program has been waning as we go and it has not stopped. And sadly, it's because I think it's actually the unit we are learning about. Right now, we are doing the animal unit, which is 16 weeks of this program. And I think the frustration, I know the frustration for her is that she is an animal lover. She learns all about them as much as she can, whenever she can. So this program is not a bad program, but it's just not bringing anything new for her. Every time we finish a unit or a lesson, she's like, Mommy, I knew all that. It was, because I asked her, I'm like, what's an interesting fact you learned today? And she's like, nothing, I know everything. She's not trying to be proud or, bragging or, anything like that. It's just truly, she's just, I know it. I learn about animals. I love them. So this is kind of a little boring for me. So I looked at the program's other units that we will be doing in the future. And one of them is a 10-week human anatomy unit. And so I was like, would you be interested in learning about human anatomy? And she goes, yeah, can we? And I was like, yeah, we homeschool. This is our homeschool. We can do whatever we want. We can scrap the whole program if you want, or we can just say, we're not doing the animal unit anymore. We're done with that. You know all that. There's no point in continuing to, beat a dead horse, so to speak. Why don't we move into something you're interested in? Let's fast forward to the human anatomy unit. And she got really excited about that one. So we did a couple weeks of it this November and it went really well. So we're back in action. We like elemental science again. I just think the animal unit is just lacking for her. Again, not a bad unit or a bad program, just not right for her. So the main spine for the human anatomy unit is the First Human Body Encyclopedia from DK. We actually had this on hand already because we used this a few summers ago when we did a little School of Smiths, Me and My Amazing Body. I'll link that down below. I also have a 10% off coupon if you want to. Oh, actually, no, she's not running a sale anymore. I'm sorry. I have a 10% off coupon you guys can use for that. But she really likes this spine. Is a really good one. She's enjoying this. We also have quite a few of our own just random books that we've picked up at the thrift store all about the human body, so we bring those in as we need to. Our first lesson, we got to look at cells under the lens of our microscope because we do own one, and she's just really jiving with this one. So this is going really well and I'm glad for it. And it reminded me, Mary, it's your homeschool. Take charge. If it's not working, switch it up. Do whatever you want, right? Dissect and, reject anything that doesn't work. So I'm so glad that science is back up in our, in the positive column. So that's it for Emory. Let's move on to group subjects. Okay, let's talk about history real quick. I'm not going to go into depth because you guys know I do my own review videos on that stuff, and I'll link down the playlist below for all of our American Girl history reviews. But we finished up Josephina this month. It went really well. The girls really enjoyed it. And next up we have Kirsten, which is all about Pioneer America. So that we will hold off. We could have started a week of this the week before Thanksgiving, but I was like, why would we start a week and then pause until after the New Year? Because we have our December schooling, right? We pause everything. I was like, let's hold off. Let's not start. We'll start week 1 when we get back from New Year. So we're going to hold off and we're going to start this January 1st or whatever the day is that we come back after January 1st. But Josephina went really well, y'all. So go check out the video for the review on that down below. Next, let's talk about our free read. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So we decided to read this month because we are about to start our Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets literature unit this coming Monday. And my youngest specifically requested that we reread this before we start the second one, just to make sure that we have all the information fresh in our brain so we can pick up the story where it left off. And so this is a really great copy. It's the Mina Lima copy, so it has a lot of illustrations and pop outs. It's just such a cool one. Ooh, that's his acceptance letter to Hogwarts. But we really enjoy this. Obviously, we've read it once before, but the girls, there was a lot they forgot from last year. So I'm glad that we revisited this month. So if you watched my update from last month, you know that we dropped Blossom and Root Art Level 0, sadly. I think it's a great program, but I'm not going to go into depth about it, but essentially I think that it wasn't the right fit for my kiddos at their ages right now. One of the pros that I initially liked about it was that the mediums were all diverse and different. There was watercolor paintings, there was metal sculptures, there was fabric motifs, etc., right? But for my kids at their age levels, seeing a picture of those 3D type art projects was not connecting as well. Also, it was just going so fast through the different composers and artists. So I was like, okay, it's just not, they're not having enough time with this. So I went back to what worked for us last school year, which was following the Ambleside Online composer and artist studies. So I just created this little guy. It's the riches, and it has what we're doing. So each term now we are going to sit with one composer and one artist. And so this term, we are working through Jean Fragonard. He's a French painter. And what I do is I print off on cardstock on my own printer the print that we're studying that week. And we look at it, we study it for like a few minutes, we discuss it, and then I hang it up on the wall, which I was not doing with Blossom and Root because it was all electronic links to the stuff. So having it up on the wall is allowing them to sit with it through the entire term, right? They're not seeing it for 5 minutes and then it's gone. They're looking at it every day, all day. It's in our dining room. I just use painter's tape to hang it up. It's totally fine, y'all. And then our composer that we are studying is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And they are loving his music. They love the contrast. Some of it's super intense, some of it's super fun. Like, they are just having the best time. So that is going so well. I'm so glad we're back to that. The girls even said, they're like, we like this. We're glad we're doing this again. So I'm glad that was a hit this month. Okay, 2 more things I was going to really quickly talk about is that we ended up finishing American Girl, the Feelings book this month, and now we have started the Care and Keeping of You Level 1. There are some topics in here that I'm not quite ready to go into with my girls yet based on their age, but there's a lot in here that is really solid, like hygiene, hair care, taking care of your teeth, proper nutrition, exercise, saying no to bad things like drugs and alcohol and all that good stuff. So we are having a really good time with this, really good discussions coming out of this. But again, I'm picking and choosing topics out of here that make sense for my kiddos. But we love the American Girl supplements. They're really great. So enjoying this one for sure. Last but not least, for group subjects, our handicraft is going so well, y'all. Brushwork, I was not sure how this would go because this is a technical type course. It's not like, hey, paint a scene of an outdoor pond with animals in it, right? It's not like paint a flower. It's we are going to actually take our time and work on how do you hold the brush, the technique. This is up, this is down, left, right, how to press down and pull up, lifting color off pages. I mean, there is so much in here, but it's technique driven. And I was afraid that, I was like, I don't know, they might not like that. They might get frustrated and just want to paint something. They love it, y'all. It's wild. I was like, okay. So here's an example. Well, this was, okay, so I do it with them. So here's mine. This was our first lesson, just learning about up, down, left, right, and how that would leave the color. So they're practicing that. This was the second week lesson. So it was making patterns with your paintbrushes. This I think is this is my youngest daughter's. So this was her first week. This was her second week making her patterns. They actually turned out pretty good, you guys. I'm so impressed. And this is my oldest daughter practicing her and then her patterns. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually saving all of these, and when we're done with the course, I'm going to punch them with my binder and bind them for them so they have a little keepsake of progress of how their brushwork went. I'll probably start doing it like soon. I just wanted to get a few of them before I put them all together, and then I'll put a little cover on it, and just so they can have that as we go. But this is going really well. For the gridded lines, that's what the brushwork says you need. You need gridded lined watercolor paper. I really couldn't find any. Well, I think that Simply Charlotte Mason had some, but for me to like buy it and then the shipping, it was like $8 for the thing, but then for the shipping, I mean, it didn't seem to make sense because I had a ton of watercolor paper. So literally before every lesson, I draw these grid lines with a ruler, and then I cut them in half, cut the watercolor paper in half, and then give all of us 3. It literally takes 2 seconds. It's fine. It's really not that big of a deal, and it's kind of soothing because it's monotonous work just drawing lines, but it takes literally no time at all. So that's how I got the gridded paper. Because I have a feeling people would be like, where'd you find it? I created it. So it's all right. So before I close out, I have one last group of things I want to talk to you about. It's what have we dropped from our school to make life easier and simplify things, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is we have dropped the Ambleside Online Year 2 history readings. I had mentioned this in my last update, but I did want to talk about this. So we have dropped Children's History of the World, Our Island Story, This Country of Ours, Little Duke, as well as future we would have read Joan of Arc. It has freed up so much more time for us in our homeschool. We have time to focus on other things, guys. I feel terrible because the literature was great, the books were great. Even my oldest was like, I really do like these books. I just feel bad we can't do it all. And I'm like, I know, there's just not enough hours in the day. So it was a bittersweet decision, but it was the right decision. On top of that, we have actually changed our schedule again. So we have gone back to our old schedule. So in the morning, we do core subjects first now, which are my kiddos' individual subjects. Their math, language arts, and their science. And what I'm doing, instead of just doing one kid and then letting the other one play, and then one kid and letting the other one play, in order to make our schedule more efficient, I'm literally having them sit down at the same time. I start my day with my oldest daughter's math. I do the lesson with her, and then she moves on to the independent practice part of it. Then I'm able to work with my youngest, who has been doing independent work at this time, and then I work with her on phonics and all that, and move into her reading, and then into her math, and then she's able to work on her independent, and then back and forth. I thought it'd be a little chaotic, but we actually are quite a well-oiled machine with it, and it's working, and I think everybody likes to be together to do their stuff. So thumbs up for that. The schedule change has been great. So instead of doing morning time, we do core subjects first, then we do our morning time, and then we do our history, and we're getting done before lunch every day. That was what I was hoping for, because I feel like at 1st and 3rd grade, we shouldn't be going over lunchtime yet. I know eventually we will be surpassing lunchtime when it comes to school, but I just don't think we should be doing it quite yet with this age level. Something else that has now come off our plate for the future is, originally for my oldest daughter, we were doing geography readings from Ambleside Online. We were doing Seabird, which we finished 1 chapter per week. And then halfway through the school year, we would pick up with Tree in the Trail, 1 chapter per week. Well, we actually ended up bringing that in for our Josephina unit because it's all about a tree on the Santa Fe Trail, and Santa Fe Trail is a big focus of the Josephina American Girl unit, and it actually recommends it as one of the alternate optional reads. And so we just decided to read it for the last week of Josephina, and we read a couple chapters every day, and the girls loved that book. It's Hollingsea Holling. I should have brought it in here. I don't want to go get it. I'll put a picture here. It's Hollingsea Holling's Tree in the Trail. Such a good read. The girls loved it, and it went really well with our American Girl history unit. But also now that's taken that off our plate. That's one less reading that I have to do with my oldest daughter every week moving forward for the rest of the school year. So that's some more time we've gotten back in our day to be able to focus and do rabbit trails and make Maui in a Pegdell form. You know what I mean? So it's like, those are the things now that we can get back in our life. 2 other things real quick that we have dropped. I have dropped Ambleside Online Year 2 recitations for Emery. She's just doing so much reading aloud, and I know reading aloud is not the same as recitation, but I do focus on her reading aloud skills in the way that I was focusing on her recitation skills, taking her time, speaking clearly, pausing at the right punctuation. I know it's not exactly the same because you're not reading the same thing over and over again, but it is taking, again, these little 10-minute things out of our schedule. They add up to like a full hour we get back in our day, y'all. It's insane. And she's okay with it. She liked the poems, but she was like, I get it. I want some more time back in my day as well. So that has also been a nice add back to our schedule. And then one other thing we've dropped. So with Blossom and Root, both levels for my girls, there is a geography component. So, and they're really liking it. Well, my youngest hasn't started it yet, but I guarantee you she's gonna love it because it's map work. It's learning all about like the basics of geography, cardinal directions, reading a map, all that stuff. And it's like workbook, like sheets and stuff based. She's gonna love it. There is no reason then for us to continue with elementary geography and home geography. We love these books. They're great books, but it just doesn't make sense to do this on top of that geography. See what I'm doing here? I'm simplifying and pulling everything out, and I'm sure you've probably now tallied it up and noticed that a lot of what we have pulled out is our Ambleside Online stuff, which stinks because I do like Ambleside Online. I'm not saying it's completely gone as an option for next year, but the more we pull away from it this year and we're doing other stuff, the more I'm recognizing that this might not be the direction we go for the following year. So I actually think I'm probably going to sit down and film a video in January for you guys and talk through, or maybe December, I don't know, maybe it'll be sooner. I'm going to talk through my thought process of where I am right now with moving forward in our homeschool. What are we going to use? Obviously, there's a lot of things that we love about Charlotte Mason, but there's a lot of things from other pedagogies, I don't know what you call it, philosophies. There's a lot of other things that we like to do that are maybe not so Charlotte Mason, but it's really all in the name of what works for us. Like for my kiddos' learning styles, our schedule, our interests, and if it's not Charlotte Mason, I'm not going to stress about it, right? I feel like I am somebody who has had a hard time with trying to really stick to a pedagogy and stick in that box, and I need to stop doing that to myself. It's like an addiction, y'all. It really is. Like I need to step away and just go, what works for us? And let's do it. Whether it's Charlotte Mason, unschooling, classical, who cares? Just do it. So that being said, I probably should do an update with you guys video. Let me know if that's something you want. Leave it down in the comments if you want to see a video like that where it's not what we're doing, it's just talking about things. It might talk about different curriculums I have on my mind for next year, right? Like what we might be thinking about planning. With that being said, I've had some of you ask, can we do a video about future planning? Like what are we planning? I don't know if I want to do that because it could change so much. I mean, if you guys still want to see it, let me know. I will be happy to film it for you, what I'm thinking right in this moment. Maybe I kind of combine those two videos. Maybe that's a good idea. That's what I'll probably do. If that's what you want, let me know down in the comments. But that's it for our update for November. Obviously, I've had some really rocky bits this month, but there's been some really good bits as well. So if you are still here with me, and I appreciate all of you who do stick with me till the end, leave a turkey emoji down in the bottom for Thanksgiving because that's November. I appreciate all of you. I am very thankful for you guys. I am thankful for my family, the opportunity to homeschool my children, and more importantly, for the first time in my entire life, I really understand what it is to be thankful for my health and my ability to just live a healthy life, movement, etc. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful month, a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you have any questions about anything I talked about in this video, leave it down in the comments. If you are new to my channel, hopefully I didn't scare you away too much and you'll want to hit that subscribe button for future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.